Dr. John Momoh, who is presently here with us. Dr. Momoh has done so much for CAAN, and this opportunity is not enough to say many things he has done for the Chevening Alumni Association of Nigeria. Dear audience, I present to you the Chairman, Board of Trustees. We also have here the Vice President of Chevening Alumni Association of Nigeria, Dr. Toun, Mustapha, who has played in the oil and gas school in various global schools across the world, and also has been a champion for the rights of women, the right to educate people, and also she is someone who has been in the public health environment, championing the cause of various health policies across the world. Dr. Toun is presently the current Vice President of CAAN. I also have Mrs. Funke Amobi. Mrs. Funke Amobi is a banker, someone who has also contributed to the cause of human capital development in Nigeria and also West Africa. Presently, her role, where she presently works at Stanbic, covers Nigeria and West Africa. Mrs. Funke Amobi is here with us, and she'll be talking about Chevening and the benefits to the prospective candidate. We have also Mrs. Lyle Ladepo, who is the Chevening officer in Nigeria. She sits at the British High Commission in Abuja. She will tell you so much the do's and don'ts for applying successfully for Chevening Scholarship. And the organizer and the person who actually put all this together, Ms. Sarah Ebu, she is here with us, and she'll be speaking and taking some of your questions and answers. Thank you very much. So at this time, I will give the floor to Dr. John Momoh, who will welcome us and give us a brief summary of how personal Chevening experience has helped his leadership capability across the world, and indicating for us what applicants could do and what you can do, the kind of leadership capability and quality to show when applying for Chevening. Sir, you have the floor. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Kester. It's always a delight to be among Cheveners. Always stand with my shoulders tall whenever the Chevening Association and Cheveners have been referred to, or anything that we're doing. But what I've done here is to be, so that I don't leave out anything, I've prepared a text, short remark that I'm going to read out to everyone. And then hopefully during the question and answer session, we can get down to the nitty-gritty. But without much ado, first let me wish you all a very good afternoon and extend my sincere gratitude to the National Executive Committee of the Chevening Alumni Association of Nigeria for asking me to give the welcome remarks at this webinar. As I said, as always, I'm very proud to be Chevening, and I'm always very eager to acknowledge publicly the opportunity I was given by the British government 31 years ago to join the prestigious and global elite group. Well, by the end of this year, the Chevening Scholarships are expected to have extended support to almost 1,200 Nigerians, a feat that we must acknowledge and we must applaud. And if my figures are correct, at the last count, there are over 50,000 Chevening alumni all around the world who comprise an influential global network. Well, speaking about numbers, as always I like to do, it's estimated that there are about 1.5 billion Africans on the continent today. 60% of that number we all know are under the age of 30. A third are within the middle class income bracket. And both of them combined command a consumer spending power of around $920 billion per annum. So what's all the racket about? What does this all mean? It means that in spite of the humongous challenges that we are facing as a continent, these are very exciting times to be African, to be Nigerian, and even more so to me personally as a Nigerian entrepreneur. This is a continent that has great commercial possibilities, and they're just beginning to evolve significantly. Now, take my own area and sphere of influence, my comfort zone, the broadcast industry, for example. Most countries across sub-Saharan Africa, including Nigeria, are expected to have switched over from analog to digital television broadcasting by June 2022. There's been some, delays and deadlines missed. But as a television media entrepreneur, the prospects of shifting or switching from analog to digital television broadcasting represents an exciting transformation at a time when the demand by the Nigerian television viewing public for local news content is rising significantly. It's within this context that I've had the good turn of fortune to have received a formidable kickstart as a Chevening Scholar. My first stop as a scholar was at the Thomson Foundation in Wales, Cardiff, Wales, which is a global media development organization with a 50-year-old history of training journalists in ethical standards and quality reporting. It was there at Thomson Foundation that I learned about ethical broadcast journalism and newsroom computing automation. The foundation changed my worldview and helped me to build an inner self-belief which subsequently translated into peer leadership momentum. And through the foundation, I had the opportunity to visit and spend some time with news editors in established television companies across the UK. And by this, I mean the independent television news, TVAM at that time, the BBC, and many others. After the course, I would grow to cultivate a very strong ethic, to uphold the highest ideals in balanced reporting and the right to adequately inform the viewing public. It was very difficult at NTA, where I worked as anchor and reporter. But at the slightest opportunity, I tried to implement what I had learned. I became embroiled in a dream to attain a more fulfilling professional future through a pattern of work that I could influence and which I had complete control over. It spurred me on. In a nutshell, I had reached a tipping point in my life, and I'd reached a place of absolute restlessness. So, what to do? I resigned from NTA without any tangible evidence of financial security. But I was convinced that an untapped greenfield opportunity in my area of specialty was well within my grasp. So with great anticipation, I started a production facilities company in 1992, during one of the most challenging times in Nigeria's recent political history. You remember, all remember the June 12 elections. But nonetheless, within a year of starting the company, I successfully applied for a license from the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission to launch a free-to-air news television station with limited capital and a resolute determination to succeed. It was with the commitment of my wife as well, plus an overdraft from a local retail bank, and a commitment by core staff of 15 people that we were able to begin a test transmission for Channels TV with a very tiny briefcase type transmitter, which stood no chance when compared to the huge equipment that were owned by NTA and the other stations that came before us. In the spirit of the training I had received from Thompson Foundation, the resident director for Channels TV, which was to uphold the highest ideals in balanced reporting, I set out to realize the vision of attaining the virtue of an accountable and responsible code of professional journalism. Channels TV has come a long way from that humble beginning. Today, through sheer persistence, the station has won 13 out of the 18 of Nigeria's Media Merit Awards as Nigeria's most outstanding national television broadcaster. As you all know, the rest is history. Today on the digital plane, we tower above all our peer groups. And we have more than 15% of the eyeballs. I believe that the virtue of the training that I received from the Thompson Foundation as a Chevening Scholar will result in the creation of a lasting television broadcasting tradition. Then I believe now it is. And I knew that it would assail all boundaries of limitation as we strove then to inform and educate tens of millions of Nigerians on how they are governed and what their duties and responsibilities are. It's a work in progress. You never achieve. You just continue to build on your successes, if you will call them success. I'm sure that Cheveners all around the world, including Nigeria, are filled with appreciation for the unique opportunity provided by the British government to take them towards their objectives. It's a legacy that we are and always will be grateful for. And so the saying goes, of much to whom much is given, much will be required. And those words apply to all of you who are aspiring to be Cheveners. Certainly, we all recognize that we are living in a time which requires a great deal from all of us. A time that demands sacrifice for our country in many ways that are very difficult, and the causes that all of us don't always understand. So these times demand that we all solve problems which at times appear to us unsolvable, problems that we inherited we didn't know anything about, problems that are thrust upon us by years of injustice and years of neglect. These times in Nigeria require us to endure events which seem unbelievable and at times unbearable. Events of tragedies, of violence, of hate, of cheat, and of all the negatives. You and I must face the difficulty of being citizens. We must face the difficult times because there has never been an easy age in the country. But every time for our country has been a difficult one, and also a time of hope. So the greatest question facing us today, as we meet this afternoon, is not whether we can rebuild our cities. Of course, we can do that. It isn't whether we can improve our schools. Yes, of course, as Barack Obama said, we can. And of course, we must do that. It is not whether we can provide health services. Indeed, we can. Those are all, I think, questions of will, not question of capacity. So the critical question that we face is whether we can, as one people, hold fast to our faith in each other and in the nation's purpose. If the answer is yes, then you are on the right path and on the right track to becoming a Chevener. I have not the slightest doubt about the future as long as the country can develop young men and women with faith like you, with hope like you, and with the leadership that I hope will give you all of us, you will give to all of us. I wish you good luck in your quest, and may God bless you all. Thank you very much indeed.
Wow. Please help me unmute your mic and let's put our hands together for the Chairman, Board of Trustees, Chevening Alumni Association of Nigeria. Please, audience, we have over 247 right now that are online. Please help me unmute yourself and put your hands together for him, please. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. We are so grateful. We appreciate your presentation. I believe there may be a question at the end, but because Mrs. Amobi is going out into a meeting very soon. So, Sarah, please help us introduce the second panelist, Mrs. Funke Amobi. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Momoh, for that very, very inspiring opening remarks. We really appreciate that. And I believe our participants have learned a lot from what you've said this afternoon. So I've asked Mrs. Amobi to unmute, and she would be speaking next.
Thank you very much indeed. With your kind permission, could you just enable me to share a slide, please? Thank you. While she is helping me to share this, I'd like to acknowledge our chairman of our Board of Trustees, Chevening Alumni Association of Nigeria, Dr. John Momoh. Thank you very much, sir. As always, exceptionally inspiring. Thank you, sir. And thank you so very much, Dr. Kester, President Kester, and Dr. Toun. The Chevening world is a world of intellectuals. So humbled to be here with you. Thank you so much for inviting me. And indeed, I'd like to acknowledge the entire executive committee of the Chevening Association of Nigeria. I believe I can share my slides now. Not yet.
Not yet.
Still disabled?
Yeah.
Okay.
Still trying.
Let me know when that works. Thank you very much indeed. And good afternoon to all our distinguished aspiring Cheveners, over 200, almost 300 locked on. Thank you so very much for joining us today. In the next 20 minutes, I believe I will be sharing my Chevening story and my Chevening experience with you, a story that I tell with so much excitement and pride. All of my life, I've done that, and I believe I'll continue to share it with pride. I'm still expecting to be able to share that slide, like Dr. John Momoh, so as not to forget the fine details. I've just put a colorful slide together for you. And once I can share that, I will get going. As a background, like you, I set out about 15 years ago, not as long as Dr. John Momoh. I always bow in respect when I hear 31 years. Like you, about 15 years ago, I set out, to have this Chevening dream. At that time, I was already at a senior management level in my career. And my desire and aspiration was to make that curve. I wanted to turn into general management, into executive level in a global multinational. I'm giving this specific background because I may be speaking to somebody out there who had the same aspiration. And off I went to do the needful. I thought it was to get myself a global MBA because indeed I had had a first degree in economics from the University of Lagos, and I had been a practicing HR professional for all my 15, 16 years of work at the time, 17 years of work at the time. And so I was successful as an HR practitioner. And the question then would be, so what do you need an MBA for? I knew very clearly that's what I needed to make the next transition. Plus, I was passionate about solving problems that I thought, you know what, I needed to be a lot more empowered to be able to solve. I'm passionate about the Nigerian youth. I'm passionate about women, empowering women to be the best that they can be. A lot of all those things that revolved in my memory, in my brain, required a lot of intellectual empowerment to be able to bring to birth. And so off I went to apply for a Chevening Award. I still can't share my slides. Please let me know if it's possible. Off I went to apply for a Chevening Award. And interestingly, Chevening Award. And I have to share this detail again because I may be speaking to somebody. I didn't get awarded. And then I thought, hello, come on. I'm a high flyer. Why wouldn't I get awarded the Chevening Award? And then I got to speak with a friend who was already a Chevener. And she said to me, how much attention did you pay to your essays? And I thought, oh, those essays, I didn't think much of them. I thought, you know, meet it. And then when you get into the interview, then you would face the dialogue. But wrong. The Chevening Award is a very serious award, very rigorous award in all its ramifications. Off I went to apply again the second year. This time around, I paid attention to every detail. It wasn't a matter of, oh, I'm busy at work, I just want to complete a form and tick off. No, I paid attention to every little detail. And the rest, as they say, is history. So with a background in economics, I headed off to the University of Lancaster University, again, another very passionate part of my life, to study the MBA. I'll keep hoping that the slide comes on. I'll keep trying. Admin, technical crew, please help me to be able to share the slide. I got awarded the Chevening Award in 2007, and off I went to Lancaster University to study for the MBA. As soon as I arrived to the Lancaster University, Cheveners are passionate intellectuals. I said to myself, I am going to graduate from the Lancaster University. I didn't want a distinction only. I wanted to be awarded the Dean's Prize. And to be awarded the Dean's Prize, you indeed had to be the best student in class. So I set out as a Chevener to continue to aim to be the best. And what did that mean? It meant I had to pay attention to every detail in school. It meant I had to give it my all, and that I did. So what happened? I graduated not only with the distinction, but I was awarded the Dean's Prize. Now I returned to my organization at the time, which was MTN Nigeria. I had taken a year off to study the MBA, and I returned to MTN Nigeria. I returned to MTN Nigeria and immediately got promoted into general management, as in immediately on the first day of my resumption. I got promoted to general management, and then the journey of upward trajectory into the executive palace and an excellent expression of my talent broke open. The Chevening Award afforded me the opportunity to take on a Lancaster MBA, which in my view was an experiential MBA. So I had the opportunity to consult for Royal Bank of Scotland. I had the opportunity to consult for Allianz in Germany. And I had the opportunity to consult for a small medium enterprise called Cancer Care in the UK, all in the course of that 1 year MBA. It was mind-blowing because it got me into the construct of working, living in the UK and studying. It was an exceptional year of studying. Lancaster University being the leading university in research in the UK, it left me wanting to do more. I immediately, though I was back in the office, you know, and my career was moving on, I immediately went back with Chevening. You don't stop learning. I've just acknowledged Dr. John Momoh, Dr. Kester, Osahenye, Dr. Toun. You don't stop learning. Hopefully, I'd also get to do my PhD someday. Now, I went on to do a postgraduate certificate in the University of Surrey in talent and career management. I went on again to do a postgraduate certificate in the University of Bedfordshire, this time in the psychology of change and organizational development. You just continue to learn as a Chevener. That's what it deposits in you, that innate appetite to continue to be an intellectual individual. So off I went to continue to, you know, enable myself to be the best that I could be, to be a specialist, not just a generalist HR practitioner, to be a specialist, a subject matter expert. And soon enough, I became a chartered fellow in the Chartered Institute of Personnel Development in the UK. And then, you know, one thing led to the other. On the career side of things, my trajectory continued upwardly. I got offered an appointment to become the country head of human capital Holdings PLC. This was about 8 years ago. So I then had spent about 5 years, 6 years in general management in organizational and talent development in MTN Nigeria. And then I moved on into Stanbic IBTC as country head of human capital. And I got appointed onto Stanbic IBTC asset management as a non-executive director. And I got appointed to several other boards, advisory board of Women in Successful Careers, advisory board of Lagos Business School. I got invited into the faculty to become the lead lecturer for organizational behavior in University of Ibadan to teach MBA executive students. Now, only a Lancaster MBA could have afforded me that opportunity, because hitting the ground to lecture in University of Ibadan has been the most pleasurable experience of my post-Lancaster classroom field in the last 6 years. I've led the faculty for organizational behavior for executive MBA students in the Lagos campus for University of Ibadan, and it's been premium delivery, courtesy of the Lancaster University Premium, because indeed, it was learning at its best. It afforded me the first class research, Lancaster being the first class, first rated uni in research in the UK, afforded me the opportunity to grow as a research person. Cheveners are problem solvers. Cheveners are thinkers. Cheveners are nation builders. So indeed, you must be passionate about doing something for this country. Think about Dr. John Momoh. Think about Channels Television. Think about, the reach of Channels Television globally, even as we speak today. Now, all of that afforded by the broadening that Chevening broadens your mind. It lets you feel that impossible is nothing. I recall returning into MTN, and my CEO at the time invited me to his office and said, "Oh, Funky, you've done so well. We're very proud of you. You've done so well. Now, what would you like to do?" He said to me on a humorous note. I said to him, "Boss, if you get off your seat, I will sit down." Oh, he chuckled and said, "Something now is wrong with you." I said, "No, I'm fine. I can run this business." So I transited from an HR practitioner to a business manager. And I thought like a business person. I think like a business person. And I tell myself, I can run a business. Chevening made it easy to study. The Chevening Award pays the entire bill from the beginning to the end, pays your ticket award, pays for your excess luggage at that time for winter allowance. You get a winter allowance for when there's winter. You get some allowance to run your dissertation. I mean, it just makes learning easy. At the end of every month, you get an alert. There's a stipend coming in for you to upkeep yourself. I'm absolutely grateful to the UK authorities for the opportunity, of being enlisted as one of the prestigious Cheveners worldwide. Now, for me, it's been an endless trajectory of an upward climb in my career. And then interestingly, I cannot miss this. Then I got appointed 7 years ago into Lancaster University Management School as a member of the Dean's Council and the Advisory Board. I've sat on that board for the last 7 years. I've sat on that board with distinguished 13 other individuals across continents, crafting the strategy for driving Lancaster University Management School to continuously remain a leading business school. Now, that is for me the most fulfilling career experience you could imagine, in my profession. Now, sitting on that board meant I had to be in Lancaster three times a year for board meetings, and guess what? All expenses fully paid by Lancaster University. Now, this is courtesy Chevening. Don't forget the beginning of the story. The end of a matter is not where you should start from. It's the beginning of a matter. Now, the truth is, I only could have this expressions of my potential and my capabilities because I got afforded a Chevening Award. And as a Chevener, you stand out. You stand tall because, Cheveners are people of great impact. Cheveners are people who do not just seek to acquire, but they seek to release. That's why you would have, as you just heard again from Dr. John Momoh, the footfall of impact of a Channels Television is beyond just communications. It's beyond communications. It's gone into development. It's gone into national development. It's gone everywhere. It's gone into representing the nation internationally as a voice. That's what a Chevening Award is capable of doing for you. But if you listen to all that I said, if I run down the list of my advisory board membership, my board membership appointments, and all that had come, you know, the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management, then a Chartered Institute of Development in the UK afforded me the highest recognition, which is called a Chartered Companion. I became the first Nigerian, the first African to be afforded or to be awarded that recognition. I became a Chartered Companion in the Chartered Institute of Personnel Development in the UK. Sitting here in Nigeria, I didn't have to go to the UK. I sat here, I returned back, continued to work, continued to make impact, you know, in youth development. I chair an academy called TREM Career Academy, where indeed we support the youth to raise the employability index, continuously giving back. That is the message of a Chevening scholar. When you're back as a Chevener, the truth is you will constantly find problems to solve. And finding problems to solve means making societal impact beyond your personal reach. Now, recently in Standard Bank Group, I was awarded another, interestingly, so I wear two hats. I'm the country head of human capital for Stanbic IBTC Holdings PLC. As well, I'm the regional head for West Africa and Africa regions for Standard Bank Group, where I get the responsibility to have oversight for 6 countries. Again, another recent appointment in the last 1 year, just like the Lagos Business School Advisory Board membership in the last 1 year. The Chevening Award is a door opener. The Chevening Award is a pair of a pair of binoculars that enables you to see far. And as you see far, you're able to determine how far you want to go. The limits are yours to set as a Chevener. Now, if you choose not to set the limits, like I've chosen not to set the limits are off. It opens the door, it announces you, it empowers you, it enables you, and it makes it possible for you to achieve all your dreams. I'm absolutely grateful to be a Chevener. To be honest, I see my life and my career. Oh, there you go. Now I can share my slides. I see my life and my career absolutely enabled by the Chevening. And this is the story. University of Lagos, enter Chevening, and Lancaster University, then back to MTN, then University of Surrey, then University of Bedfordshire, then the CIPD, Stanbic IBTC. It can be, and then Stanbic IBTC Asset Management Directorship, and then Lancaster University Management School Board appointment, and then University of Ibadan Faculty Lead, and then Standard Bank Group appointment as Regional Head, and then Lagos Business School appointment as Advisory Board Member. I see my career as everyone sees a board member and a Chevening scholar. Everyone sees a multiple award winner, an HR thought leader, a woman in a successful career. But the truth is that below, what you see below, i.e. all of that educational foundation that you see below, throws open all that you see at the top of the iceberg. A Chevening Award enables the top of your iceberg to find expression. Now, all I would say is pay attention to your dreams. Set the right aspirations for yourself, set the right goals for yourself as an aspiring Chevener. You are on your journey to a world of opportunities, the opportunity to be the best, the very best that you can be. There's nothing better than the best. So you have to be desirous of being the best. A Chevening Award does that for you. It enables you to be the best. So you shortchange yourself if you come into the Chevening space without desiring to be the best, because it will afford you to be the best. It will afford your iceberg to be, as deep as you want it to be, the beauty of the top. It's all at your beck and call. A Chevening Award is a door opener. A Chevening Award is an enabler. It's a springboard that enables you, go, down and then up as far as you can go. I'm very grateful to the Chevening community. Back in Nigeria, it's been wonderful to be an alumni member, to continue to rub minds with great intellectuals, and under great leadership of the Dr. John Momoh of today, and President Kester of today, and Dr. Toun of today, to continue to ensure that we can give back in this measure to support your aspiration and ensure that you not just apply for a Chevening Award, but you successfully, get awarded, and then you go on this journey to, acquire your degree and return to continuously make an impact. That is nation building. And that's what indeed the objective of the Chevening Award is. Once upon a time, I was told that the desire, of the funders of the Chevening Award is that in the future, at the very minimum, 50%, 60% of all the countries where the Chevening Award is in place would actually have their presidents and commanders-in-chief as fellow Cheveners. I am looking forward to that day. And I'm very, very sure that if you come on board, you will join that entire effort to ensure that Cheveners continue to give back to Nigeria as our country, to support her growth and to continuously build our nation. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak again, President Kester and Dr. Toun. I will take my leave now, step aside, my 20 minutes now being done. And I wish I could have stayed to take on questions.
Thank you
but
so very much.
Happy.
Because you're going to join another meeting at work, there may be some question and answer for you. So please, we'll give you that 5 minutes maybe to answer, because a lot of you are a global citizen, so you have so many fans. I could see a lot of questions. They follow you on LinkedIn. They are your friend on different platforms. So many persons from across the world. We have Dr. Isa from South Korea. We have Ms. Faye from Cameroon. We have James from Sierra Leone, and many other people who say they know you. So please, maybe we'll give you 5 minutes to answer.
Yes, please.
So please, if you have your question, you can type it out now for Ms. Amobi before she exits the platform.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll be happy to take all the questions. I'm going into the question and answer now to be able to take some of.
I'm scrolling through so that I could read out some of the questions.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Okay, I think I have some of them now. Some are asking to say, how will you grow in your career trajectory with Chevening? Number one question, how do you grow your career? If you're a Chevener, you're coming back to a job without promotion, how will Chevening help you grow in your career? Number one question.
When I connect with Cheveners and I get asked questions, the first thing I say to Cheveners is, as a Chevener, you are the problem solver. Don't expect that you're coming back and someone is saying, and Dr. John Momoh is saying, here is your offer letter, here is your offer letter, here is your offer letter, and just distribute offer letters to you. It's hardly going to happen. Trust me. Now, what is going to happen is that you are already loaded with something. You've got, a differentiator. So you are differentiated already from the pack. What you need to do is speak to that differentiation and explore with that differentiation. You wouldn't be going, not everyone will be going for an MBA. People will go for different master's degrees. Whilst you are awake, have an excellent career, if you like, a career planning session with a career advisor, or go into your university career. In Lancaster University, we have a career center. You could go in there and have a conversation around how you should explore when you return to country. Now, most people never do that. You just come back into country and you'll expect that, look, because I'm a Chevener, I should, the doors should just open. You have to be the same way they teach us how to do research back in the uni. How to do research in a methodical manner. You've got to be methodical about it. Now, which are the, if you like, industries looking for my skill set? This differentiation that I have, what is my best way? What's the best door back into the industry? I'm assuming you may have resigned to go for the Chevening, to go for your Chevening education, 1 year. You may have resigned. And if you're coming back in, you're coming back in by choice. But when I was in Lancaster, 2 organizations had come interviewing me in Lancaster. The first one, I got the call from the MD of the bank saying I was an MTN, don't forget, and I went there on 1 year study leave. So I knew I was coming back to MTN, but I got offered 2 jobs whilst I was there. By the time I resumed, one of those banks went a step further and actually invited me to their office and gave me an offer letter. And I had to reject all of those offer letters because I'd said to them, I am, and I would like to come back to MTN because that was the deal. I was given a study leave to go and come back. Now, the truth is you must be structured in your attempts to re-enter the market. Don't think that because you're a Chevening scholar, it means that, you know what, I don't have to do anything. The job is just going to come and look for me. No, you have to be structured about it. Be in touch with fellow Cheveners, fellow alumni before you return. Be in touch in a structured manner. Brilliant that you're connected to me on LinkedIn. Let's have a conversation. You know, as much as possible, I go out of my way to support Cheveners. Let's have a conversation. You can reach me by email, funkeamobi@gmail.com. That's what it is. On all my handles is funkeamobi. Once you see your chat, oh, I'm a Chevener, I will go out of my way to, give you a response or pick up the phone and chat with you at an agreed time. What you need is information and guidance to say, look, who is shopping for my skill? Which of the doors should I be pitching to enter from when I return? That is the way to go about it. Be structured about it before you return. If I had wanted to change jobs, I could have changed as soon as I landed because I was there and offers were coming to me. So I wasn't even looking. Start looking from whilst you are in school. Attend career fairs. Interestingly, COVID-19 and all of that, a lot of these things are watered down. But attend career fairs as things open up as you go back to school. Attend career fairs. I was in MTN Nigeria at the time. We came to London for a career fair. Some of the people that were with me in Lancaster University went into that career fair and got hired by MTN. So these things still happen. Don't go with the myth that, look, now I need to do man, no man. If I don't know anybody, I'm never going to get a job when I come back. No. If you know someone, it works. I'm not playing down on that. And if someone guides you, it's even better. But the truth is you can come back and be structured about your entrance yourself. Ask questions. Who's looking for what? Where should I be sending my CVs to strategically? If there's an alumni that's able to help, put your CV in very quickly, please, by all means, if you, for example, want to come into banking and, you're in touch with me, if I know anyone in the bank, I'll pick up my phone and make a call. And what do you get from that? You get the reality. Oh, no, we're not hiring. Yes, we're hiring. The truth is once your foot gets in the door as a Chevener, the rest is in your hands. Once your foot gets in the door and you get heard, I do not see how you will not be able to, put your best foot forward and make yourself the obvious choice. Because the truth is there are many choices. As a Chevener, you already have a label. That label suggests, because I am an HR practitioner, when I look at your CV as a Chevener, it tells me you're intelligent, tells me you're smart, tells me you're a problem solver. I understand the Chevening resourcing process. I've taken part severally in the interviews. I understand how rigorous it is. And so when I see that you're a Chevening scholar, I tell myself, to have passed through that, indeed, I can imagine that you can be ABC. So you are halfway through in the mind of an informed resourcing person. Informed resourcing body, practitioner, executive imagines that a Chevener is good to go. Now you then need to convince that person, convince that hiring person that you're the only choice, because it's not just about being the best person, it's about being the only choice. I'm seeing someone saying, if you're in Nigeria 2 years, does it mean you must work for a company based in Nigeria, or you should be based in Nigeria for the 2 years of post your scholarship? You must return to country. I encourage you, return to country, come and help us solve the problems, and work, return to country. Regardless, COVID-19 regardless, companies are still hiring, companies are still hiring and expanding and growing. So no one should think that, it's all gloom around here. President Kester, I can't see any other question.
Ebuka sent one particular question to you, Franklin Ebuka. Thank you, Mrs. Samobi. What should one pay attention to while writing the essays part of the Chevening application? I know Lyle will touch on this part, but please, Ebuka directed this question to you.
Okay, thank you, Ebuka. Now, you have to you have to be able to relay your intent. You have to be specific. Okay, look at the acronym, that thing we call STAR. You have to be specific. You have to know what you want to do, the task, what specific about, oh, this is an opportunity area, a problems area I would like to solve with mine. So you want to go get yourself an MBA, for example, to do what? Is it just to put it on your shelf? What do you want? You have to be able to tell the story of what will getting the Chevening Award do for me, do for the society. What would getting the Chevening Award mean to me? So you have to be able to explain that in specific terms. Specific, you have to be able to tell what will you do, solve a problem or take on an opportunity you have identified. And you have to be able to put your thoughts around the impact of all of that when you have done it. You see that this is serious business. So we want to, and who are we looking for? We're looking for people who can think, who can see what the problems are. There are problems in Nigeria, plenty of problems in business, in society, problems everywhere. Which one do you want to solve with this master's you want to go and get? There are opportunities everywhere. With fourth industrial revolution, VUCA environment, opportunities everywhere, even post-COVID. Which one do you, this is your desire to do an MSc in this and that? How does it connect beyond, just a desire? It must connect into impact at the end of the day. So in your essays, you must be able to tell such stories in a succinct, articulate manner that would leave whoever is reading it desirous of funding that story. That's it. You're almost like writing a business plan. And if you're coming to me as a banker to fund your business idea, how well are you telling me the story to fund your business idea? Well, because it's depositors' money. If I give it to you, do I know it's going to come back? Imagine that that's the kind of essay you're writing. You're writing a business plan. You're selling an intent to someone who is going to fund that intent. I hope that helps.
Thank you very much. That's quite succinct and comprehensive. Chairman BOT, some of them are commending your effort with channels, TV, and what you've done all over the years. There's no specific question for you, sir, apart from so many of them commending what you've done with channels, TV across the world, the UK and Nigeria. And some of the other questions are meant for Lio. I'm sure Lio will handle them when the time comes. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you, Chairman BOT.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation.
Before Mrs. Samobe runs off,
yes, sir.
I just want to say, as she was making her presentation, I was singing here behind the cameras. I was saying, "This girl is on fire." And that's what Cheveners are made of.
Thank you, sir.
That's the stuff of Cheveners. You can smell them out from 1 mile off because they're different, they're unique. And so if you're able to get into the Chevening Club, the rest it's not going to be easy, but you're on the right track and on the right path. But don't forget, you're there to give back to your country.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your sterling role model leadership. It inspires us, to be honest. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you, President Kester. Thank you, Dr. Toun, my VP. Thank you.
Thanks,
Permission
Kester.
to follow.
I'm going to also run up very soon.
Thank you. Permission to follow.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Chairman BOT, you've done so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You said you brought back memories.
Yes, I concur. Thank you, President.
So many
Thank
of them wrote
so
that
much.
they are your fans, and you've done excellently well for the country and what you're doing. They appreciate it. What you're doing for broadcasting, what you're doing for government.
It's a work in progress. Work in progress. We continue to strive.
The work you've done for University of Lagos recently.
Correct.
The work you've done for the MBC and everyone. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Mr. President, just to let you know that Mr. President, Dr. John Momoh is my president for life. He's president of Lagos, president, everywhere I am, he's president. So I'm just grateful for the opportunity to connect. Thank you
for your support. Thank you for everything.
You, sir.
Have a great day, guys.
Yes,
have a wonderful session. Thank you
so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Very much. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, sir. So I have the singular honor of introducing Dr. Mrs. She actually preferred Dr. Toun, Mustapha. I don't want to bore you so much with words, but I will tell you that this woman is cerebral and she has done so much for our nation. She's a council and a board member for an association we call the African Academy of Science, the Association of Professional Development, International Society for Environmental Epidemiological African Chapter, ISEEE. She's done excellently well. She has a PhD from Imperial College London. Dr. Toun Mustapha has presented a lot of papers this year, even with COVID, both globally and within Nigeria. She has empowered a lot of women speaking across the world on how you can build your career. I'm so proud of what this woman has done across the world. Someone who has actually worked in the oil and gas, someone who has worked across the academia. I have the singular honor of introducing Dr. Toun Mustapha, who is our next speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President Kester. It is an honor to be here. And good afternoon, everyone. Please, can you confirm you can hear me? Please confirm you can hear me.
Yes,
Yes,
we can hear you, ma'am.
Okay.
We can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. I really want to, it's a privilege to be here. Thank you for having me. And it's always a pleasure having who I call Uncle John, because we've come a long way, who is also the alumni, the president of the University of Lagos Alumni Association. My uni where Funke is also from. So we've had a lot of networking. And it's always also a pleasure to work with somebody like President Kester, who is the president of the Chevening Alumni Association of Nigeria. And like you have said, when you come into the fold, you appreciate the kind of blessings Nigeria have in terms of human capital. I'm not going to take much of your time. Funke has done an excellent job in telling you about Chevening. I'm just going to highlight how Chevening has impacted my career, but I'll focus more on how you can craft your application to align with your career plan. So in 1998, that is about 23 years ago, I won the Chevening Scholarship to study for Masters in Public Health at Cardiff University in Wales. At that time, I've had a first degree in microbiology and a master's in medical microbiology. And all my life, I wanted to be a researcher, a top researcher. Then it was a difficult period in Nigerian history in the early 90s. It was during the military era, there are lots of issues, no jobs and what have you. And then I was in University of Lagos in 1992 doing my study, and University of Lagos had a problem with the government, the students, and the university was shut down for about 6 months. So all my isolates that I was working in with at the Nigerian Institute for Medical Research Hospital. So that was the first time I actually lifted up my head to say, maybe I should look outside the research environment and the academia and look at other opportunities I could. So I developed interest in environments. And as God will have it, I started writing publications to educate people about environment as far back as the early 90s. And there was, about that time, that there was the first Earth Summit. So one day, while I was rounding up my master, somebody came with an advert for the company where I work for now in oil and gas. And I took up the opportunity. I went for the interview. It was another rigorous interview. To cut long story short, I was taken. I started working to preserve the environment. But when you tell people that don't damage the environment, I realize a lot of people cannot get it. They keep asking, do you want the whole world to become a museum? So I realized there is a gap between what people understand about environment And it was a big burden on my heart to be able to let people understand how good environmental practices is necessary for our existence. And that is what dragged me into the looking for how can I connect environment with health. In Nigeria at that time, environment and health, they are considered two parallel disciplines that they don't even talk to each other. Everything about health is within the Ministry of Health. Everything about environment is in the Ministry of Environment. People cannot relate negative environmental impact to human health. So I now decided that, look, having worked for about 5 years, trying to establish the first landfill site, engineer landfill sites within the Niger Delta for domestic waste. At that time, it's open down, people just dump their waste, and trying to set up a waste recycling scheme in the company where I worked. And I decided that I really want to have a training that will enable me to be able to influence decisions that environment impact health. So I started looking. I went into British Council, looked into different schools, and I came across Cardiff University offering what they called environmental health module in their MPH. So I applied for this. With my experience in waste management, I did go in there. I was already getting into a middle management in my career then. But I told myself that I want to make a leap. I just don't want to become a functional leader. I want to be a broader business leader, and I want to be a global researcher. I want to influence. I enjoy doing research, but here I am. There is no funding for research. I work in a private organization. So how could I make the best of what I have? So I applied for the Chevening Scholarship. Before I went to the Chevening Scholarship, please let me enlighten you about that. And I really want somebody out there. So please learn that your journey to winning a Chevening Scholarship is not going to happen at the point, it's not starting at the point of the interview. Chevening is looking for future leaders, decision makers, influencers, who they will now develop professionally and who will network extensively, and in future be at the top echelon of their profession and in their country. So before I went for Chevening, I already had University of Lagos Best Student Scholarship for my undergraduates. I had a federal government scholarship, and I was already leading on my own, trying to educate people, marking World Environment Day, organizing things on my own. So when I got into the Chevening interview, I did my Chevening interview in Enugu. I remember telling them what I've been doing, and they look at me that without any support, you are doing this. That means you really have a vision. And I can tell at that time I was able to link what I was doing about how the coal mining in Enugu, the impacts will come in years to come in terms of erosion and environmental degradation. So at that point, I knew after the interview, they told me that, look, if you've done this for yourself, then you really, really have a clear career plan. So eventually I got the Chevening Scholarship, but that is not the whole story. When I got into Cardiff, and that is one thing Funke has said, and I really want to build on. When I got into Cardiff, I started looking for opportunities to make a difference. Don't forget, I chose Cardiff because I wanted something on environmental health. And in Nigeria, what they called, the only thing they know about environment and health are sanitary inspectors. And that is not what I wanted. So one day I stumbled on a textbook called Environmental Epidemiology by John Goldsmith. It was the first time I was writing an essay for the class. And from there, I got to know about International Society for Environmental Epidemiology. I went into the internet and I searched, and I realized they were going to have a conference in Greece. So I wrote an abstract based on some of the work I've done before, and I got a grant, and I went for it. I got a grant. When I was presenting my poster, one of the seniors in that society from Israel came around and saw me. When I talked and narrated how this communication happened in Nigeria, what we can do more, what are the gaps, he invited me into a committee called Ethics and Philosophy Committee. The long story about it is that 20 years later, I maintained consistent connection. I joined that committee. I started doing what people would not like to do. I was in the midst of senior professors worldwide, people from Harvard, people from Yale, people from Stanford, people from Imperial College and what have you. But I always endeavor, it was true, we only had female then. So I always endeavor, even when I cannot attend the conference, I make contribution, I volunteer to do things. I grew up to become the coordinator for what they call ethics discussion, ethic impact of research for almost 10 years. And while in Greece, I met some people, young people from Imperial College, because we are all from the UK, we started talking and I told them what I was working on and how, and they connected me with a professor in their school who is also working on my subject of interest. To cut long story short, about 5 years after I came back to Nigeria, I won Commonwealth Scholarship to do a PhD in Imperial College. And I finished my PhD. And let me not tell you how Chevening has transformed my career. I'm a scientist working in an engineering organization. And because I'm not an engineer, it is often people don't understand how a scientist can really fit in. And I just didn't want to be a functional leader. But after my Chevening, it was number one, the only two people that have ever had it is a multinational company, are engineers. That particular scholarship, I was not supported by the company. I simply applied on my own, went in there to prove myself. And when I got it, it raises a lot of eyebrows. I was invited into the top management of the company to tell them. Then everybody realized there's something in this lady that we need to develop. And when I came back, like Funke said, I didn't get a promotion. What I got was to be able to move into another department where my MPH would be useful. It was when I was working there. I always look for problem and I solve the problem. And from solving that problem, I got invited. I always find people who would like me to work for them because you know that once you have Toun, she will be able to solve problem and she will be able to move forward. So from being an environmental advisor, I move on into becoming, I worked in the public health space. I worked into HSC management system and ISO 14000 years when it was new in Nigeria. Then I moved on to become a transformation manager. I had a certification in Lean Six Sigma. I'm trained a black belt. And recently I had a certification in Agile and Scrum Master. What has Chevening done for me? Chevening has enabled people to see that I could stand on my own. It has enabled for me to stand from the crowd, from my peers. All my peers, they grew up in the same department where they were for years. But my Chevening scholarship and various things I achieved during my Chevening year, including then, I campaigned for debt relief for Nigeria in what they call Jubilee 2000. It was around that time we were campaigning for the developed countries to cancel Nigerian debt. I was part of that. I met with Tony Blair, the British Chancellor, had a handshake with him. I achieved a lot of things. And when I came back, it was obvious to people that she's different from the other. And that's play to the benefit of my career progression by being able to move from being a functional leader to a business leader. And I've moved from being transformation manager, I've moved into becoming a continuous improvement manager. for a multinational in Nigeria, and I've moved on to becoming a petroleum economics lead. It gave me a lot of breadth to do so many things. So when you see me in my day job, I'm not doing public health, but I'm using public health knowledge to solve problems. And then in my professional networking, one of the things I've become I grew up in that trajectory. I never knew when I started that one day, International Society for Environmental Epidemiology will have an Africa chapter. An Africa chapter was created and I became the inaugural chair. And in that role, we grew membership from less than 10 to over 100 in 1 year. I've led a lot of capacity development. One of my career goals is to develop other researchers. If Nigerians, if we do not solve our problem, nobody can solve our problem for us. So I'm very, very active in research capacity building in environmental epidemiology, and also training people on how to address environmental epidemiology challenges. About 25% of the health issues we have in developing countries and in low and medium income countries, including Nigeria, are related to environmental stressor. So when we address the environment, we will improve health. So sometimes when I design an event, I get a lot more than we can take. In recent times, I've also been a speaker, either for university in Nigeria, Cardiff University, my alumni institution. I do career talk for them. I hold an adjunct position in my alma mater, Imperial College, as a research fellow. I also hold a position as an adjunct research fellow at the Nigerian Institute for Medical Research. And what I've been able to do is to use the platform of the networking skill, problem-solving skill that I've gained from my Chevening year to apply to other areas consistently. And one of the things that has done is, like Dr. John Momoh, like President Kester, like Mrs. Funke Amobi, Cheveners are not people that achieve excellence once and stop. Continuously, they continue to achieve excellence. And that is what Chevening is looking for, future leaders. And that brings me to talking about how can you clarify your career plan in your application. Chevening is looking for people that have clarity around what they will do after their study. One of the requirements of Chevening Scholarship is that you come back to Nigeria to contribute to the development of Nigeria. So one key assessment area for your Chevening application is your career plan. What is your long-term and short-term career plan? After your Chevening Scholarship, the knowledge, the network, and the achievements you gain during your Chevening years, how are you going to use it to benefit Nigeria? So you need to be clear in your mind what you want to do. You need to have an ambitious goal. Like I told you, after my Chevening, I knew I wanted to do a PhD. I want to be a leader in global research. And to the glory of God, I've been able to publish, work in multidiscipline, multinational research team, to publish paper, to also review things on my specialty, which is air pollution epidemiology for WHO, and contribute to policy development that affects low and medium income countries. And this is one of the things that it wasn't crystal clear, but those were things that I set out to do. Please, I want to encourage you, have a big ambition. Have an ambition that is bigger than yourself. Forget how don't put any barrier or limitation on yourself. Like Funke has said, get coach, get a mentor. How will I achieve it? So one of the things we look out for when I participate in Chevening interview and reviewing application is, this candidate, is the candidate clear of how they can use their knowledge after the Chevening year? You should be able to itemize in the next 5 years where I want to be and how I will get there. It is very important. And you need to link this with some of the things that UK is doing in your own country. Take, for instance, UK is interested in climate change, adaptation, areas, green space, green environment, circular economy. So if you are working in the field of environment, it is expected that some of your career goals, career plan, will be able to tie into some of the interests that UK has in Nigeria, and topical issues on environment and what Nigeria is aspiring to do, and the gap Nigeria has in this space and how you can fill it. So it is important that you look at that and put it. One of the things, if you don't have a plan, a crystal clear plan that's built on your current success, that build on your past experience, it is always not convincing for interviewer. Somebody who has never written a paper, who has never attended any conference, if you come to the and said, maybe I will go to a conference in this, you don't even know the top leaders in your field, it will not be convincing. So your career plan is something that builds on what you are currently doing, or if you are like me, you want to do something different. And I was able to itemize it, that my day job is this. This is other areas where I think I could add value to Nigeria. And you could, if so, it was convincing. And to the glory of God, 23 years later, most of those goals have been achieved, and I'm aiming for a future one, where Nigerians will live telling the story about environmental epidemiology issues in Nigeria. They will be leaders, they will lead multi-country studies, and they will not just be one of the authors. They will be either the person that guarantees a paper, authorities that can do it. So I'm looking forward. I know we have a lot of youths that are interested in making a change. And I believe that a country can develop also by investing in research. Without investment and leadership in research, development of a country will be slow. And I believe many of you listening to me, you will be able to do that. Thank you. Over to you, President Kester.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm trying to unmute myself, but you can agree with me that this woman is cerebral. This woman is versatile. This woman is multi-skilled. Please put your hands together for Dr. Toun Mustapha, please. I know many of you are not muted, but help me put the emoji of clapping. Thank you so much, ma. You have some questions, and I would like to read them out, particularly from some of our audience. Thank you for so many persons that joined from Sierra Leone, from Cameroon, from South Korea. Dr. Isa, thank you very much. I saw your name. Thank you for people that joined from Canada. A lot of people that joined from the US, despite the time difference. Thank you very much. We are so grateful. Nigerians all over the world, thank you for joining. And non-Nigerians, we have over 281 here, and I heard that we are also live on Facebook and other platforms. Thank you very, very much. We are grateful. So Dr. Toun, I'll read out the question for you. There's a particular gentleman who asked you on STEM. His question is on STEM. Let me read it out, please. He said, sorry, I'm trying to scroll there, and I particularly asked about STEM. And I know that he mentioned the say it's so important that he knows if the program is meant for just STEM, another. Wow, so many questions now. So let me read it out, please. Forgive me. Please hold on a while. It says, the person is Ajibola. Ajibola said to Dr. Toun, does the Chevening Committee have a preference for applicant in STEM? My problem-solving experience has influenced few people. I feel the committee has a preference for only problem solvers at national or state scale level. Is this wrong? That's from Ajibola to you. Then there's another one who say, amazing profile, Dr. Mustapha. I would like to connect with you on other platforms, on LinkedIn and other platforms. That's from Ibrahim. Ibrahim sent that to you. Then there's another question from a gentleman who says, please let me get it again. Okay. I'm applying for Chevening for the second time. I'm a fundraising strategist. Okay. We want to know his journey. Thank you so much, ma'am. I'm interested in research, and I'm currently a public health student in University of Lagos. It will be my pleasure to connect with you, Dr. Mustapha. I'm also aspiring for public health, Mrs. Mustapha. Currently, I hold a master's offer in University of Aberdeen, Scotland. I'm also interested in research, ma. How will I go about it? Thank you, ma. This is an eye-opener for us. As a woman with children, any provision for kids, will I be able to get Chevening? Another gentleman, I think you should take this, ma. Before. Thank you, ma. This is an eye-opener and giving us an opportunity to learn. Dear Mrs. Mustapha, how will I go about doing a research in science when I have a lot of interest in medical field, but some of the schools I'm applying to don't offer sciences? Does Chevening support program outside the UK? Thank you.
Thank you, President Kester. So let me start with the person that talks about children. My dear sister, it is children are heritage of the Lord, and having children should not limit a woman's career, please. Marriage and having children are part of life for people that choose to do that. One of the beauty of Chevening is that you can travel with your family and your dependents and will be given allowance. So having children, you will still be able to go for your Chevening Scholarship. There are various scholars who went to the UK with their children, so that should not be things. But the key thing is your time management that you need to develop and put priorities and what is important. So for the person that wants to find out research in STEM, I am from the sciences. Funke Hamobi is from finance and banking. President Kester is from journalism. Dr. Momoh, journalism. Chevening Scholarship is a broad scholarship that includes science, journalism, and the arts. So it is not just for STEM or for anything. I saw one of the questions I was saying, is it a finance? Funke just explained to you that she actually did an MBA with a scholarship. So if you're a finance professional, you can still apply for Chevening. Don't forget that in every field, there is always a gap. And Chevening are problem solver. So it is solving the problem that is more important, irrespective of the field. I agree with that in some years, I will acknowledge that there might be priorities, like in 1998, late 90s, where I went for Chevening Scholarship. It was the year that the whole world was planning for health for all by the year 2000. So most of the scholarship then were for a high percentage of it went for people in health fields so that they could equip people to improve on health indices worldwide. But that is not the only thing. Currently, like now, climate change is a topical issue. And climate change transcends all discipline. Whether you are in finance, there is green financing. Whether you are an environmentalist, there are issues around it that you can address. Even in your journalism, there are ways that you can build that within the scope of climate change, you can make a difference. So irrespective of your field, you can make a difference. But the most important thing is solving a problem that is real and making an impact. I think that is something you really need to think through very well. Read about other people that have achieved whatever you want to be. People who have gone on that journey. Read their story. Like you listen to Dr. John Momoh. What did he do differently? What is it, the challenge of today? How can I build on some of the lessons I learned from what he has done to make a difference? And irrespective of the field where you are, you'll be able to do that. Somebody said, how do I start a research? Thank you. I think as about 30 years ago, I had the same question when I did my first master's. I want to be a scientist, but I didn't know how to go about it. And the question is, how do I start? But what I've learned is, in the world of science, you need to identify people who are working in the field where you are working. The good thing of today is that you have the internet. Most papers are published open access. Look at the paper, read a lot, literature review of what is in the literature, what is the debate. Be sensitive to your local environment. What are the issues in your local environment? What do you have in the literature? Something that they've done elsewhere that has worked, and we still have that problem in Nigeria, and I adapt it to a problem. Let me give you an instance. I read about a lady who is recycling plastic waste to make bricks in Kenya. He's on Twitter. And I believe there are many people in Nigeria. We also have a problem of pure water sachet and what have you. Those are the kind of things you could pick up and say, I really want to do this. You start from what you have into what you do not have. But that is in terms of the practical aspect. In terms of the research, is to read journals, read papers, write to people. One of the things a lot of people, scientists derive joy is, and all leaders worldwide, they derive joy in coaching and mentoring and developing other leaders. Want to write to anybody that is a top person in your field and tell them what you are doing and how you think you can benefit from their coaching. Just like Funke mentioned, that if you write to me, I will. I've posted my LinkedIn handle into the chat box and also my Twitter handle. Hopefully when Nigeria lifts the ban on Twitter. If you write directly to me on LinkedIn, I will at least get in touch with you. I will book a time for us to discuss and be able to guide you. But it is a journey. Sometimes the result does not come immediate. So you need to be persistent and be ready to go the long haul for you to be a successful researcher. I hope that helps. Please, if you need more information, just contact me on LinkedIn and I will be able to help. Back to you, President Kester.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mustapha. This is impressive, and your answers are quite succinct and straightforward. We are so grateful to you. Thank you very much. A lot of offline questions I got. So many persons want to know, how much has Chevening imparted leadership? I will tell you today, before Lyle takes on and Sarah, that it's so many great Cheveners. I always like to introduce and talk about people who you may not know. Sarah and the team that is putting this together today is a Chevener. She's involved in so many policy formulation activities that affect women. I would like to tell you that she has done very well in her field. There's a gentleman, Dr. Ogini. Dr. Ogini came back from the UK in 2017, who attended the University College London, a wonderful, great expert, a medical expert who is using artificial intelligence to trace so many issues on infection across Nigeria. I have Mrs. Amina Oyagbola, a great Nigerian who had worked with MTN and different organizations, set up Women in Career, Whisker, and many other persons that people may want, oh, who are the big ones? I like to introduce people unknown, but if you want to know big people in Nigeria, the present MD of First Bank, Dr. Kazim Adeduton, is a Shivna. The MD, the group MD and CEO of Access Bank, Herbert Nigwe, is a Shivna. And I will also tell you that the former Minister of Sport in Nigeria, Mala or Mr. Bolaji Abdullahi, is a Shivna. There's a woman present who is doing so well in global legal practice and a member of the International Court of Justice Board of Arbitration, Mrs. Adedoyin Rose Vival. She has done excellently well that the ICJ is extending her tenure by 4 years. We have so many international audience here, but I also want to tell you that the current president of Costa Rica, who is quite known globally, Carlos Alvarado Quesada, who became the president of Costa Rica in 2018, and the current president is a Shivna. We have wonderful global citizens across the world who are Shivnas. And in Nigeria, I can mention so many professors across various universities and citadel of learning in Nigeria today who are Shivnas. We have so many of them doing excellently well in different fields. Some are hibernating in their field, you know them. Some are prominent, some are not too prominent because of the work they do, but they are responsible citizens who have contributed immensely to the growth of our nation. At this juncture, I will hand over to my colleague, Sarah, who will be taking us through the next presentation, and who will introduce my friend and colleague, the Chevening officer, Mrs. Ladepo. Sarah, over to you, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kester, for that very succinct information that you've just given. We really appreciate that. So without much further ado, I'm going to bring on board Mrs. Layo Ladepo, who is the program officer of the Chevening Awards. Specifically, she works at the British High Commission at the Abuja branch specifically, and she's going to be talking to us about the Chevening application from an official standpoint, those things pertaining to eligibility, requirements, timeline, and any other matter that concerns such. She's going to be covering that, and even after that, if we have questions that we want to ask her about it, she would also cover that as well. So over to you, Mrs. Ladepo.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you so much. It's a great pleasure to be here. Thank you so much, President Kester, Dr. Toun, and even to Dr. John Momoh, who has left already, and Mrs. Amobi, who have spoken so much about the scholarship. I mean, I just feel like there's nothing left for me to say here, but just to say what an inspirational and prestigious network. I mean, there's just so much to gain from them. If it wasn't because there was an embargo for those of us working in the British High Commission, I would want to apply for the scholarship as well. Anyway, so without much ado, I'll be sharing some slides so that we can discuss about some of the administrative sectors of Chevening. And hopefully afterwards, if there are any questions that you have for me, I will be free to take them. Let me try and share my screen. Thanks, Sarah. It's working. I'm happy to see that. Sorry, excuse me. Okay, Sarah, can you just confirm that you can see?
Yes, I confirm. I can see it is working.
All right, thank you. Fantastic. So I'll be talking briefly, giving just an overview of what Chevening is, who it's aimed at, who is eligible to apply,
what is the offer, and then I can't even speak much about the alumni because President Kester has spoken about it already. So for the scholarship, it's our prestigious flagship scholarship, and it's funded by the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office. So recently, FCO and DFID merged together to form FCDO. And we are looking for outstanding leaders to send to study. We also want to see people who have strong academic backgrounds and great interpersonal skills. That is what we look for. The scholarship program is for 1 year, and it is to any university and for any course that you want to apply for. Applicants that are eligible to apply are people who are above the age of 18. Last year, I remember we had someone from, I can't remember which of the West African countries, who was a teacher, and she was 50-something years old, and she was awarded with the scholarship. So no one needs to be afraid about their age. You can apply at any time. You also need to have an undergraduate degree. There have been questions about HND. I know that there's been a handful of people who have applied with an HND, but because of their career paths and the different things that they have improved upon over time, and some professional certifications they have been able to add on to their educational background, some of them have been successful. So it depends on the university and what they're willing to accept. So please do your research properly. Another thing is that to apply for the scholarship, you have to be from a country that is eligible. Nigeria is one of the 160 countries that is eligible to apply for the scholarship. And you should not have dual citizenship with the UK. So if you are half British, sorry, this is not for you. We only want people who are full Nigerian, or if they have dual citizenship with other countries, as long as it's not the UK. In addition, you shouldn't have applied for a UK government or UK government funding before. I mean, you could have applied for it, but if you didn't get it, you can apply for the scholarship. But if you have been funded by the UK government in previous times, you would not be eligible to apply. You should also have a minimum of 2 years working experience. And when I say working experience of 2 years, I'm talking about full-time work, part-time work, voluntary work, internships, NYSC. So all of these add up to work experience. So have no fear, even if you've been doing some small voluntary work on the side, you can still use that. And what we're looking for is a minimum of 2,800 hours. And how we calculate that is we have approximated that 35 hours of work is achieved in a week. And for 40 weeks in a year, that makes 1,400 hours. So for 2 years, that makes 2,800 hours. And that is how you get the minimum work requirements. English language is not a Chevening requirement anymore. It used to be, but that was lifted last year. And for this year, it's the same thing. But please check with your universities if it is a requirement and meet the requirements. The offer is so great. You've heard from Mrs. Funke about what she enjoyed as a Chevening scholar. The same thing with Dr. Toun. It's fully funded. You don't have to pay for anything. Your tickets are covered, your feeding, your accommodation. Out of your monthly stipend, you're able to pay for your accommodation and also feed. Then your visa fees are covered for. Your COVID-19 tests, when you get into the UK government will pay for that. There will be allowances to attend networking events, COVID permitting, although, I mean, the restrictions are reducing slightly in the UK now. So because quite a number of them have been taking the vaccine and the 2 doses of the vaccine, so it's getting better. And I think basically that's what it is. Apart from the networking events, there's always also allowances to attend those. So it's a fully funded scholarship so that you can spend time studying and not have to worry about working on the side to make some extra money. Our Chevening alumni globally are 50,000, about, plus. And in Nigeria, we have about 1,300 alumni. We have so many notable alumni, and Mr. Kester has mentioned quite a lot of them. So let me just leave it there. Correct me if, okay, that was, yes, that's what he had already said, all of that prior to now. So there's no need to go into that. So we'll go into our application tips. I am trying to move, okay, here we are. So first of all, you know, the application is on a portal and it's very friendly. I think to me it's user friendly. It allows you to do your, complete the form, save it as you go along as a draft, and until when you are very sure that you are ready to submit is when you need to submit, click the submit button. So it gives you some kind of leeway to be able to work offline and work online. So what I would advise is if you haven't applied before, just go onto the portal, register, see what it's like. There are different sections to the form, just familiarize yourself with it. Make sure that you are able to identify referees that you can list in the application form. So sometimes if you're lucky, you would get your referee to send you the reference letter during the application window. So that means before the 3rd of November, it is fine. If you have it before then, you can upload it. But you have up until February of next year, I can't remember the date, to submit the final reference letters. You can even bring it to the interview if you are shortlisted for interview. So don't worry yourself about those kind of details. It's also very good when you are writing your essays to link it to various things, to various priorities. And in addition to what Dr. Toun said earlier on, apart from the UK and Nigeria priorities, there are global priorities. There's also the SDGs. There's so many things to tie your essay with. You don't have to limit yourself to saying that it has to be the UK and Nigeria priorities, because maybe at some point those priorities might not tie in with what you are doing. But as long as we can see that you are passionate about solving a problem and you have been able to outline that in your essay, and when you're writing your essay, you're trying to ensure that it is organized and you try and follow the STAR approach. Because with using the STAR approach, you're able to highlight what the situation is and the task that you were given in that situation. But the action point is the most important of all of them, because it shows how you as an individual were able to solve a particular problem. And finally, whether you got a positive outcome, which is the result, or whether you learned a lesson from that experience. So these are some small tips. I mean, they're general tips, but I hope they're useful for you. So I would advise that you visit our website, honestly, because there's a lot of information on there. The thing about applying for the scholarship is that you have to be hardworking in the sense that you have to make time out to do your own research. No one is going to sit down and tell you everything, because there's no time even now to tell you everything. And I'm still learning every day, because I still visit the FAQs, because there are changes every day, because even with COVID-19, there are updates every time on the website. So it's very good and very handy for you to do your research on our website. I've provided the website address there. And this slide is talking about the application timelines. When our applications opened, which was last week, and it closes on the 2nd of November. So please try and ensure that you submit your applications before the 2nd of November. And the reason is that you find that on that last date, so many people are submitting at the same time. So you find that there's like an overload, and at some point, you might not even be able to submit. And the thing about Chevening is that they're very strict with their timelines. If they say 2nd of November, they mean 2nd of November, unless it is them that has a technical issue, and that's where they might extend. So please try from at least the last week, a few days to the end of the date, to the end date, start trying to submit your application so that the system will not be overloaded. So once the portal closes, the applications are sent to an independent committee in the UK, and they go through all of these applications. So it is only after they have gone through all the applications from all over the world that they begin to distribute to the different countries. So for Nigeria, they send what they call a long list to us. We would look at the applications that they have sent. Last year, I think they sent almost 300 out of the thousands of applications that they received, and those were the strongest applications. It is those 300 applications that we now sifted again. And so the two different posts, that's the Lagos office and the Abuja office, looked at those applications again, and then we sifted them down further until we had about 141, which we sent notifications to attend interviews. And the interview timeline, excuse me, is usually between March and May. And the reason why we have such a large gap is because a lot of people are traveling. That's for those who want to attend face-to-face interviews. A lot of people are traveling from all over Nigeria to come to either Lagos or to Abuja for the interviews. So we try and see how we can accommodate them. And then for those who really cannot make a face-to-face interview, we have the virtual interview. So at least we're able to have a little bit of both. By June of 2022 next year, that is when the results will be announced. And then by July of 2022, specifically the 14th of July, that is the final deadline date that you should submit your unconditional offer letter. So the thing about the application process is that it asks you to submit admission letters to 3 different schools or 1 school, it depends. But you should have at least 3 courses. And you must get, because in the initial stage, you get a conditional offer, but by the 14th of next year in July, you must have an unconditional offer letter, because that is what the university will need to prepare your CAS and to ensure that you can start your visa process. So please take note that this date is a non-changeable date, because I mean, I've seen people who have experienced this whereby they have actually received the award from Chevening, and because they have not been able to submit their unconditional offer letter, they are now rejected. So it's sad when that happens, and it's not often that it happens, but then it does happen. Finally, our scholars begin to travel to go to the UK from September and October of next year. So that is how the cycle is. We are on social media. So those are all our handles there. If you want to know more about Chevening, please go to the website, as I said, or look for us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, and also on LinkedIn. I think I'll stop here because I'm certain that there will be quite a number of questions that you would have for me. So let me stop sharing.
Yeah, so many questions. Thank you so much. Please put your hands together for Mrs. Ladeko, and you've done an excellent work. We are so grateful to you, Lyle. Thank you very much. Before I will hand over to Sarah, I saw that there are some questions for us here, but I will take one particularly that impacted on my own experience. Someone asked, if you have a master's already in Nigeria, are you allowed to apply? I had a master's from University of Ibadan before applying for Chevening. Funka Mobi was actually one of my cohorts. The opportunity I had was the experience I have from that master's helped me in actually attending the interview and applying for the program. It was an opportunity for me to learn. And schooling in the UK is a different ballgame. I always tell people to say Nigerians excel everywhere they go. With due respect to some of our friends from Cameroon, Sierra Leone, South Korea, and different nations, I want to say that Nigerians are very smart people, intelligent people. So the master's degree gave me a good opportunity to attend that interview. I had a master's from UI before going to Strathclyde. And many years after, I went back to Scotland for a PhD. My office may not appreciate it, but today I lecture in 3 schools 2 physically and 1 remotely as a result of it. Those are the opportunities Chevening gives you. Every year I go to Edinburgh before the COVID. Edinburgh Book Festival, I'm one of the visitors there. It was because of Chevening. Those are the kind of privileges you have. So to answer your question, yes, you may have a master's degree before now from anywhere. So applying for a second master's, there's no restriction to it. So Sarah, please, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, very amiable President, Dr. Kester, for that very, very informative response. We really appreciate. Okay, so we have tons of questions coming in, and honestly, I hope Mrs. Ladepo is ready to tackle these questions.
They answer the ones I can answer, or the rest are on the website.
Okay, so all right, so before I read out the questions, I noticed that there are 3 persons who have raised up their hands. So I'm going to add them to allow them to talk. So so that they could speak. It's just 3 persons aligned to speak at the time before I read out the questions. So Chidima, Ifeoluwa, and Onone. I'm not sure if you are ladies or guys, but if you can hear me, I've asked you to unmute. So let's start with Ifeoluwa. Can you unmute yourself so that we could hear your question and respond to it? Ifeoluwa. Okay, I think she's having network issues. How about Chidima? Can you unmute yourself? Okay, Onone, can you unmute yourself as well? All right, so while they're still trying to sort that out, let me just read out.
Good afternoon.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I think it was a mistake.
Okay, then no problem. Okay, so let me read out the questions, and I could add later on whoever it is that wish to speak out on their question. And probably some of these questions that you're intending to ask is something that I'm going to read out. So just stay tuned, please. So a very prominent question here is that a lot of people have been asking that, given the fact that a lot of persons, a lot of people that have attained the Chevening Scholarship, they are those of high academic standing. So in other words, those that have like first class, a 2-1, a high grade in the university upon graduation. They're asking that what is it for them? Can a candidate with a 2nd class lower, in other words, can someone who graduated with a 2-2 or even a 3rd class, can they apply for the scholarship as well? And if they can apply, what gives them that edge to still be selected? Because we know Chevening takes into consideration your academic strength as well. But if to say you're not really strong in that area, what can you use to complement it?
Okay, so for that question, I would say that anyone can apply for the scholarship. In my experience, I've seen people with lower 2-2s, upper class 2-2, 2-1. I think what makes you outstanding is what you've been able to achieve after your degree. You might have ended up with a 3rd class, but then you have gone on to do so many things and have been able to show us how you've been able to impact change in different areas. I think that is what your selling point would be if you did not start off with a very strong academic background in the first place. So I think I even mentioned earlier on about even with the HND, I was surprised to see that there are actually a few people who had HNDs but still went on to do the scholarship. And I think the reason for that would be because of the way they sold themselves and the way they told their stories and the impact that they had been able to make over a period of time. And you see, even if you write a very strong essay and you move on to the stage where you have to come and speak at an interview, and you do not have the confidence to tell that story and share those experiences, you might find that somebody else who didn't even get a first class or a 2-1 like you would be able to come and speak up and share their experiences so well that they will wow the panel. So I think it all depends on you as an individual and how you're able to put your ideas together, your career together, what you've done over a period of time, and how you are able to impress that upon whoever it is that is reading your essay.
Okay. Thank you so much for that very detailed answer. So on the next question, someone asks that does Chevening Scholarship require English tests such as TOEFL and IELTS? Is that required when you're applying for the scholarship?
So I did mention earlier on that it's not a requirement for Chevening anymore. So you need to do your research and check which university will accept your degrees and your credentials as you have them. Some universities will not ask you for those, for IELTS or TOEFL or any of those, but then some universities will. So please do your research and check with the universities first. Ask people who have gone to different universities and check what the requirements are, and then you can go ahead and do further research.
All right, thank you. All right, so another question. Do I need an international passport to apply for the scholarship? This is a two-pronged question, so I don't know if you want me to take it one after the other, or I should say it at once. Which one would you prefer?
You do not need an international passport at the time when you're making your application. But of course, if you have been offered with the award, you would need one to get a visa. So, but if you already have one, it's good to use that as a means of identification during the application process. But if you have a driver's license or any other form of ID, you can use that during the application period. But it's a good thing to have an international passport, because if you are shortlisted, it shouldn't be at that time that you start running around and going to immigration to get a passport. Next part of the question.
Okay, and the next part of the question is, aside that, is it mandatory to upload other documents such as a school certificate or transcripting in one's application before the deadline, or can they send that in after the submission? Is that possible?
So before the deadline, it's good to have submitted all of that. But I must say that there have been exceptional cases. Maybe there's a problem with uploading or something where we would ask for those, because there have been times when we've had to write to them after the portal had closed to say, we are yet to see your transcript, we are yet to see your reference letters. And at that point, they're given a warning and they go back and they upload it on the system.
Okay. All right, so that's great. That's good to know. Okay, so that means, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, that means for persons that they are completing their studies, let's say that they are already in their final year, but they're expecting like a full transcript by the end of this year. Let's say the month, either the month the Chevening portal is closing, or maybe a month after, they could still go ahead to apply, right? But then once they turn in that application, once their application is being reviewed, they will be sent a reminder to upload their transcript or certificate before a specified date. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, great. So another outstanding question. Some people indicated that they've already gotten conditional offers from universities in the UK, but they are hoping for a source of funding. This is why they're applying to the Chevening Scholarship. So they would like to know that, can they defer? Let's say, for instance, someone got a conditional offer from University of Lancaster to study for the 2021-2022 session, but because the person doesn't have funding and the person is hoping on Chevening to be able to make that a reality, can they defer their conditional offer at Lancaster and then apply for Chevening and indicate in the application that this is one of their universities of choice, so that if all goes well, they could study at University of Lancaster? Do you get the question?
think what it is people are asking if they can use deferred admissions.
Yes.
So it depends on when they are using the admission. So if it was deferred from last year and you want to use it in this September 2021, it will not be useful. So it depends on your agreement with the university. If they're in agreement that you can defer it till September of 2022, when you will actually need it, then it's fine for you to submit that one. I think, I mean, is that clear? Have I answered it properly? I hope so.
I believe you have, and like you said, if there's any clarifications, they can reach out. They could check the Chevening website, the frequently asked questions section, and I believe they would have a detailed response there. Then also, still in line with UK universities, another prominent question a lot of people ask is that as they're applying, do they apply for UK universities at the same time simultaneously, or would they have applied before they open the Chevening portal to apply, or after? Which time frame do you think is best for applicants to apply to universities of their choice?
Okay, so to be honest with you, because now the portal has already opened on the 3rd of August, but if I had the mind to apply for the award and I knew that the applications were going to open soon, I would start straight away. My advice is to start now. Do not waste any time. Just keep on, sending in those letters, emails, correspondence to the universities, because sometimes they can delay. And now with this graduate route, there are a lot more applications going into the different universities. So it's not just people who are applying to just go as students. They're the ones who are also applying for the graduate route as well. So quite a number of applications coming in. So my advice is start on time, because once you delay, it doesn't mean that you must have the conditional offer before you submit, or before at the end of the application period. It doesn't mean that, but it means that at least you will have started the process. And another reason why you should start the process is because it's going to help you when you're answering the study in the UK essay. Because if you have not done any research about the university, if you do not know what course you're going to study, if you don't understand the modules, how do you intend to write a good or strong essay on studying in the UK? So it's best to start now.
All right, that's great to know. Okay, so for those who are not so familiar with the application, what the application entails for Chevening scholarships, so just to give you a briefer before I now follow up with a question. So as part of the Chevening application, you're required to write 4 essays. So the leadership, I believe Mr. Ladipo Layo mentioned this. So we have leadership, we have networking, we have career, and we have studying the UK essays. So for the study in the UK essay, specifically, you're going to write about 3 universities of choice and the courses that you want to study in the university. And you have to justify why you want to study those courses and why in those universities. I mean, there are lots of universities in the UK, but why have you narrowed it down to these 3? So that's what that study in the UK part is in the essays. So in that part, it also reflects in your application, in the sense that on the application portal, you're given the space to fill in 3 universities of your choice and the courses you want to study there. But this raises a question for many applicants, thinking that, okay, they have to restrict their application to those 3 universities. Layo, what can you say about this? Do people have to apply to just those 3 universities, or they could apply to as many universities as they can, and then with time they can change depending on things that happen?
No, so the requirement is those 3 universities. Even when you go on the portal, it only gives you those 3 options. And then some people even just limit themselves to 1 university, which is good if they feel that they are certain that they're going to get this unconditional offer. But sometimes it's better to try and have at least a backup plan and have 2 other universities in which you are hopeful that you will get an unconditional letter from. So it's only three options that you have.
Okay. All right, thank you for clarifying that. So I've enabled some persons to speak. There's Ahmad, there's Mercy Frank, and I believe there's another person that I added as well. So if you're online, if you can hear me, Okay, I think Ahmad has unmuted us himself. So please go ahead and ask your question if you have any.
Good evening, Mr. Layo Ladipo. Good evening, everyone. My question is, I'd like to apply for.
Sorry, can you speak louder? I can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, yeah, you're more audible.
Yeah. I'd like to apply for a master's in architecture, and most of the universities that I have seen, the program is for 2 years. So will Chevening sponsor a 2-year program?
Unfortunately, no. I'm sorry, Ahmad. It's usually for just 1 year master's. So you need to go into the drop down on the portal and see maybe a course that is relevant to what you want to do that will be completed in 1 year.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right. So thank you, Ahmad, for that. Mercy Frank, are you online?
Hi. Yes. Hello, good evening, afternoon. Thank you so much for this beautiful session. It's an eye-opener. Two questions here. One, I made some research and I spoke to some people about how to go about, hopefully getting the scholarship when you have a 2-2. And the person said you must have done exceptionally at work. So I don't know what the definition of exceptional is in this particular case. I don't mind if you can break it down with examples so we know how to write our essays. And number two, how do we handle cases of name change? So there's this, the name I used for my university is not entirely the same thing that I have on my international passport and on my NIN. So I don't know if that is going to be, an issue. There's a name missing from what I have, in my university transcript, my certificate, and what I have on my NIN and on my international passport. So I don't know if that is going to be a challenge later. If it's going to be, how do I get to sort it out so everything is, cohesive? Thank you.
Okay, Layo, please, maybe I will just take some part before you answer her.
Okay.
I've been on the panel since 2009, and I recall someone got married and her maiden name is different from the name on her certificate. In Nigeria, it must be published in a newspaper for change of name, number one. Then in the UK, when you're filling this form, they'll ask, there's a section to see if you had another name before now. So that section, you must fill it, and you have a proof of change of name. It is very important, it's crucial, and that is one of the reasons why so many schools we have to ask you, why a change of name? The name you have on your certificate or your transcript is not the present name that you have. So you must have a proof of change of name, which you will include in the documentation. And at the panel, if they ask for it, you need to also provide proof. That's why they always ask for an international passport as one of the means of identification. So I'll give Layo the opportunity to answer the other question.
Thanks, Dr. Kester. I wanted to also add to that, it could also affect your visa application because they would want to see that there is consistency with the names. So it's very good that you either go back to the immigration office and try and resolve that. If they can provide like a letter, or what else can you do? With the university, I think also, if you inform them about, the problem or the challenge that you're having, regardless of this challenge, they would be looking at, your application holistically. So that doesn't mean they would reject your application, but they would ask you to provide supporting documents that would be able to explain why there is a discrepancy. And the other question, when you were talking about having an exceptional career after a 2-2, I think it applies to everyone. It doesn't only apply to you because honestly, as I said in the past, there have been different people who have finished with different qualifications. And as I said, it depends on how you blow your trumpet and how passionate you are about what you intend to do. It does not matter. We have asked for a minimum of 2 years working experience. It doesn't mean that you should have 10 years of working experience to show that you're exceptional. In those 2 short years, what have you been able to do, and how have you been able to make an impact in your industry? Some people, they do amazing things in a short space of time. Then there are people who take a long period of time to effect change. So it depends on how far you have gone in your own personal journey and how you're able to sell that story to us through your writing. I hope I've been able to answer your question, Mercy. She's on mute.
Hi, Mercy.
Yeah.
Okay, she responded. She said yes. Okay, she's texting. Yes, thank you. Probably her place might be noisy, or she might be having network issues. Okay, all right, so okay, so let me just read this out before we continue with the live responses and question asking. So Layo, what are the key metrics that determine the success of an application? What are those factors that the assessment committee usually takes into consideration when they receive applications?
Well, I think there's quite a lot out there, and so much has been mentioned already, I mean, by all the previous speakers. But I would say your essays need to be clear, they need to be concise, succinct, have good grammar, they should be realistic, they should be true, because you're going to defend that. You should have specific examples, and you need to highlight your strengths. You need to show your passion, your ambition in those essays, and the ability to solve problems, because that is what is selling you. The fact that you, especially if you're writing on the leadership and influencing essay, your ability to lead a team in order to solve problems, or how you've been able to deputize for someone. You might not even have led directly, but someone gave you an opportunity to do something in their stead. How did you do that? You should also think about providing data sometimes to back up what you're saying, and evidence if you have any. And then the structure of the essay too, following the STAR approach, which I mentioned earlier on, and then whether there were positive outcomes or whether you learned any lessons from it, and how you would impact change. Because if you're able to impact in a small way, then it means that when you get this award, if we give you this scholarship, you will come back and you will do something positive with it. You will be able to make an impact in Nigeria, whether it's in a small community, whether it's in your little village, wherever it is, as long as you can show that you have the potential to do that, you can get this award.
All right, thank you very much, Layo, for that response. Kome Sunday, I see you're unmuted. Do you have any question to ask?
Yes, please, I do. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Sarah and Ms. Layo, for this opportunity. So I have 2 questions that has been bothering me. The first one is about my job. I don't really understand what Chevening means by the scholarship is for professional. So I actually work in a tech company now, and I also run my business on the side. And then most of my impact story are from my business. Though I have some from my professional, as in my job, working in a tech company. So I want to know, is it possible for me to, how can I marry these 2 stories? And is Chevening going to take my application seriously if I mention things from my own personal business that has nothing to do with my profession at the time? Then that's one. Then the second question I have is about the name. So what I actually did not change my name. What I did was confirmation of name. So I went to the court at the time, and then I have like a stamped page. I listed all the names I bear, because of course there's like, in my university, we cannot have more than 3 names. So one wasn't added to my certificate, and of course my transcript. So I want to know if confirmation of name will suffice for for change of name? So those are my questions. But most importantly, I'm concerned about my personal business, how to infuse it in the application. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. I think, as I said, it does not, it depends on how you tell your story. I keep saying that. What we're trying to see is positive change throughout your journey and how you've been able to impact that change in others, how you've been able to influence other people, how you've been able to leverage on networks, and what you plan to achieve with the award once it's granted to you. So I don't think you should limit yourself because you're doing more in your business than in your job. I think you need to just take stock of areas where you think you have made positive change and highlight those ones as your strengths. I don't think it should limit you from submitting this application. As long as you feel that you have been able to create change in a small area and you've been able to build on that experience, how you've been able to influence in that experience, then you should be able to apply for the award.
Thank you, Ms. Lyo.
There was another question about the marriage certificate, but I think what we need to do about that is we need to seek clarity, really. I think, first of all, you need to check with the university if they're comfortable with that. And then if you think that, as Dr. Kester was saying, there's places where you can announce change of name and you can show that evidence, then that should cover you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Lyo. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. Any more questions? Because I don't know, people have been burning their data for the past 2.5 hours. Is it 2.5 hours?
Miss Sarah, you are muted. Miss Sarah, we can't hear you. You are muted.
Sarah, you're muted. You're muted.
Sorry, my bad. Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yes, loud and clear.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So I heard what Ms. Lyo said, like where people have been burning data, and we're wrapping up. Honestly, there are so many questions, but we'll keep the conversation going after this webinar. So some people, I noticed in the chat box, some people mentioned that, oh, can a recording of this be available? Sure, there will be a recording that is going to be uploaded on my YouTube page, Sarah Egbo. Just type in Sarah Egbo on YouTube and it will pop out. The recording from last year is there, and this recording is going to be there as well. Then we also have a Facebook page dedicated to webinars like this. I'm going to put that in the chat box. So that's right now, as this Zoom webinar is going on, it's also live streamed there, and you can always go back to check up on it. So any point that you missed out on the recording, don't be worried. You can always catch up on that on either of the platforms, Facebook or YouTube. So I have questions for Dr. Kester and Dr. Mustapha, which I would like us to address before we bring this session to a close. Unfortunately, we can't answer all your questions, but like I said, we'll keep the conversation going after the webinar. So for Dr. Kester, your question is quite special. There are many people in the chat box asking that, oh, they've been hearing about the STAR approach. What is the STAR approach? So please, can you provide more light on that? And then also an important aspect is, how do they incorporate the STAR approach in their essays? They would like to know more about that. Then for Dr. Toun, people had also asked that, okay, so we hear a lot about the good side of this application, but what about the challenges? What are the flaws? What are the things that applicants should consider when they're drafting their essays or putting in their applications? What do you think are those shortfalls that applicants should be mindful of? Those are the questions that are for you both. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And I actually like what Lyo mentioned about people burning their data. Apologies to global citizens around the world where data is free and where you have broadband access. We appreciate the fact that you've been here for hours. So I'll take the question quickly so that we don't keep you so long. For STAR methodology, which is actually a global way of answering questions and some of the Chevening interviews, the S stands for situation, the T stands for task, and a lot of people say they want to put it together in an acronym they remember. The A stands for the action, and the R is the result. What did you achieve? So in terms of the situation, what is the situation? This situation, how did you show leadership capability? How did you show ingenuity? How did you resolve the problem? For instance, let me ask a question now. Someone asks you to say, where have you shown your leadership ability at work recently? You can start with a case that you know. Lie or say something, say don't lie. Because when you lie, it will show. Even in follow-up questions, someone may ask you a question and you will not be able to defend what you say. So what is the situation? How did you resolve the issue? What challenges did you have in resolving that situation? Give life example of the situation. Is it at work? Is it when handling a team member? Or when resolving or having a conflict at work that you resolve? Or in a promotion issue? Situation. What is the situation? What is the task? T is for task. And it's important you describe this task succinctly. Use life situation and how you resolve the issue. And what action did you take? Remember, when we are talking about the first person pronoun, you're saying we. Try to bring yourself into the picture. How did you, XYZ, resolve the issue? What are your contributions? Ensure you mention how you use your ingenuity, your leadership dexterity, your capability. What did you do differently? It's very crucial. What task? How did you resolve it? What are your contributions in terms of task? A is the action. Don't tell much story. Let the people know how you resolve it. Because a lot of people will say, what is not measurable cannot be quantified. How did you resolve the issue? What action did you take? Then R is for the results achieved. What are the results? Quantify them. If you have figure, let us know the figure. I led a HR team. We resolved so and so challenges, and I saved my organization 50% of the budget. Put time and figure to how you resolve the issue. Let us know what you did differently. If you don't have figure, paint a situation where people will see you as a problem solver. So the STAR methodology, so many of you, you've attended global interviews, multinational interviews, they use this acronym, they use this principle, they use this system of questioning. So it's important because some of your answers might elicit follow-up questions and closed-ended or open-ended questions. So how do you navigate this question? A lot of them on that panel are very smart people, from the British High Commission to the Cheveners who are invited to be the panel, or whomsoever that is invited to be on that panel. They are very experienced. So when you're lying, they know. When you're telling the truth, they look into your eyes, they know when you're lying or you're saying it the way it is. So please be authentic, be original, be detailed, be creative in answering your question. Thank you very much. What is the second question, Sarah? I forgot. Hello, Sarah. Unmute yourself. Sorry.
Yeah, second question is actually for Dr. Mustapha. So it's about challenges. What are the challenges? What are the shortfalls that applicants should be mindful of in while applying?
Thank you, Sarah. That's a very good one. One of the things that, like we said, that you're looking for, Chevening is looking for, are people that will be future leaders. And when you look at, to start from where President Kester stopped, the results. Before you came for the Chevening, how have you been able to demonstrate leadership? Sometimes people tell us what they did, but we don't know the impact. During my youth service, I was a platoon leader. So what next? What did you achieve as a platoon leader? It's important to be able to itemize the results and the impact of that result. Oftentimes, weak essays narrates experience that does not have impact. Some are not personal experience, some are hypothetical, and that doesn't work. And that was what Lion was saying, that even if you have a 2-1 and you write a strong essay, when it comes to the interview, you still need to defend what you've written and be able to build on it and defend it. So even if you don't have a 2-1 and you come up and be able to say, this is what I've done, and this is the impact, it will be important. Also know that you are coming for a competitive event. So what is a top notch for you? By the time you go into the pool of very intelligent people, will no longer be a top notch. Take for instance, last year there was a lady that came. She's done some things during her youth service. She made a public health outreach and what have you. But compare her to somebody who has been able to, as a medical doctor, was working in a remote area and has transformed, been able to attract funding for that hospital to do several things, and has been able to win Nelson Mandela leadership thing. So some things you've done, but what you need to also know is that you're in a competition. So what is an impactful thing for you may rank very low when you compete with others. So you need to start aiming to do things that when everybody sees it, always bear in mind that you're going to be competing against other people. So what you are doing has to be consistent and really quantifiable impact that people will say that this. One other area that we look for is ability to influence people. How do you get people to be on your side? I think that is often missing. Sometimes when people tell us, I do this, so we ask, how do you convince people to your line of thoughts? That is missing. So influencing, because leadership is about influencing, especially when you are going to be leading your peers at a higher level. So you need to be able to demonstrate that. And sometimes you also need to influence without having formal authority. They are not really your direct subordinates, but you still need to lead them. So are you going to be able to lead? Those are another thing. I think one other thing that is really, really a flaw, and which I would really encourage a lot of people, is the career plan. Oftentimes, that is the lowest, where you have the weakest link. People are not able to articulate what they would do after their Chevening Scholarship, how they would translate whatever they have learned to make an impact. And you're not going to do that by writing an essay on the fly. That has to be something you need to have thought through and be able to also discuss with people and to say, these are areas where, for instance, if you are going to write a paper, you need to know the professional body where you are going to present it. It is not just enough to say, when I come back after my research, I will publish my research. Where? You need to know, and who are the audience? What will it do? So having those facts and figure on the application of your Chevening experience and the skills is something that we find missing in a lot. And so people that get the scholarship, like I've said, if you look at their lives over time, they are consistently leaders. So Chevening Scholarship is about developing future leaders, decision makers, and influencers. So you need to have this and be clear. So people want to, it's like Funke Mobi put it very well. It's like a business plan. You are about writing a business plan. Why will I fund your plan? Why will I give you scholarship? How far am I sure that you will become a leader? So you need to convince me that giving you this scholarship will not be a waste of money, but it will be something that will bring value in future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mustapha, for that response. Really appreciate that. Okay, so last but not least, let me just allow Jacob to speak since he's been online for a while. Please make it brief so that after that we would respond to the question and then wrap up.
Okay. Oh, good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me, please?
Yes.
loud and clear.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I just want to ask about the fate of an individual that gets a job opportunity upon completing the scholarship program in the UK. You know, because there is always the column for terms and agreements as regards the scholarship that the awardee needs to return back to his or her original country for a minimum of 2 years. So what I'm just trying to say is, if you get a job offer, maybe in the UK or outside the UK, but outside the individual's original country, like taking up a job offer, will it not violate the terms and agreements that governs the Chevening Scholarship Board itself? I don't know if you get my question, ma'am.
So I guess that's directed to me or probably the president of the association.
Anybody,
because this is something, I mean, that we need to reiterate to everyone. If you are applying for this scholarship because you want to stay back in the UK, then this is not for you. Because we would prefer you to come back and make a change in Nigeria. That is the whole idea of this scholarship. If you want to go back after the 2 years, you are free to do so. The requirement is for you to come back. And the truth about it is, if you are ready to pay back the cost of the scholarship to the FCDO, then you can say you want to stay back and then pay us back our money. It's one or the other. Am I right, Dr. Kester? So that is the situation. We would expect that when you come back and you have tried to make the change that you said you were going to make in your career plan. The thing is, you come to us at interviews, you tell us all kinds of lovely stories about how you intend to make change in Nigeria. And then when you get there, you begin to change your mind and begin to want to stay back. That was not the agreement. Oh. I've answered. Dr. Kester, please add your voice here.
Thank you so much, Lio. In fact, you nailed it, and I'm quite impressed with what you mentioned. It's so critical, it's important, it's a terms and condition, and a lot of people making impact today in our nation across the world. I mentioned so many. If he decided to stay behind in success, investor success where he graduated, and I can proudly tell you that Sarah is also a product of that school, and many other people. If they decided to stay behind in that country, will he become the president of Costa Rica? No. If the current, one of the deputy ministers and a federal minister in Kenya, I have two of my professional colleagues who are in Kenya today as people in the government of Kenya, President Uhuru. They are both Chevening scholars. And many other prominent Nigerians that we mentioned. And I love what Lio said. If you want to pay the FCDO back their money and you want to stay behind, no problem. But the 2 years is 2 years. It's critical you come back and respect the terms and conditions of the scholarship. It is very succinct, it's clear, and those terms and conditions are stated. And before you even start the interview, these are what will be reiterated at the interview. So please, it's a gentleman agreement and it's very critical. It's one of the MOUs. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much, Lio and Dr. Kester, for that response. I hope Jacob is clear on this, and everyone else who asked a similar question. All right, so we are wrapping up now. We have come to the close of this webinar. But before we leave, I would like to hear any last words, any final statements from our speakers, from our panelists, any words of encouragement, whatever it is that you would like to say to the participants before we close the curtains. So can we start with our president, Dr. Kester? Do you have any words to say?
Thank you very much. So let me put on my video and say this looking into the camera and also encouraging everyone. For global citizens that are here from Cameroon, from Sierra Leone, from South Africa, from the US, I saw a lot of people from Cameroon particularly. Thank you for joining. From Cote d'Ivoire, thank you for joining. From South Korea, thank you so much. And someone from Singapore, thank you so much for joining. We appreciate you. For all the Nigerians here, I'm a Nigerian, I'm passionate, and I'm very particular about Nigerians. It is always a joy for the British High Commission team, for the Chevening officer herself, Lyle has been speaking. For the Executive Council, Dr. Toun has spoken extensively about your application. For Sarah and everyone, and Dr. Momoh, Mrs. Funka Amobi, and everyone who spoke today, we are particularly rooting for you. We are praying for you. We are hoping that your application goes through. And we will be so happy to celebrate with you if you succeed in getting scholarship. Is the biggest. I don't want to start mentioning one by one what Chevening has given me across the world, not just the UK, the opportunities to have friends all over the world. So I'm rooting for you and I'm praying for you. I wish you all the best as you put your documentation together. Please ensure you put the right document. Ensure, tell the right story and an application. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kester, for that. Okay, so Dr. Mustapha, Dr. Toun, any closing remarks from you?
So just first of all, to thank everyone that joined today's webinar. Spending 2.5 hours of your time on a webinar means you are really serious about this. This is important to you. And I'm really glad that all of our brothers and sisters from outside Nigeria also joined. And I look forward to us working together to make Africa great. I believe in you. Please, like I said, think big. Set up an ambition that is bigger than yourself. And once you set that and start taking a step at a time, doors will open. So I look forward to many of you joining the Chevening Alumni Association, and I wish you all the best in your application. Thanks so much to the organizers of this event, led by Sarah. You've done a fantastic job, and we're very proud of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I'm really grateful. All right, Mrs. Ladipo, our program officer, any closing remarks from you before we?
For me, I'd like to say two things. First of all, I realized that there are quite a number of questions that we didn't answer. I'm hoping that we'll be able to discuss this offline and answer all the questions and share it back to you, probably as an attachment in an email. Can we do that, Sarah?
Yes. So far they registered on, I have a list of the emails that I could send out the questions and the answers on it. So yes, we can work on that within the week.
That we couldn't answer.
Sorry, a gentleman from Rwanda just identify himself. There's also someone from Rwanda, Jean-Claude. We appreciate you.
Okay.
Quite a number of people. Thank you.
We didn't mention Rwanda. We know it's a global one from across the globe here. So Jean, thank you for joining. Jean-Claude from Rwanda. Thank you.
And I just wanted to wish everyone well. There's nothing in life that comes easy, I'd like to say. I'm sure you have all experiences, even in your personal lives. The thing about applying for anything is to have resilience and to just keep going. Give it your best shot, and then you leave the rest to faith, leave the rest to God. If it's meant to be for you, you will get it on the first try. If not, you keep trying, building yourself, refining your essays and trying to see where you would have gone wrong in the first place and how you can make your application better. I'm not Dr. Lyle, please. Just a correction. I saw someone say that. I haven't got to that point yet. I aspire to one day. So wishing you all the best, and we look forward to receiving your applications and hopefully to you joining the Alumni Network. Thank you everyone for attending. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, thank you, everyone. Just to wrap up, you can find out more about the Chevening Scholarship by going to www.chevening.org. Layo in our presentation already displayed the social media handles, which you can also look at. And then you could also check out, like I had mentioned, I posted it in the chat box, the Facebook page as well. There's a link to this recording there. And over time, I would also be sharing some materials pertaining to questions, either via email or social media and handles, so that we could get to answer your questions adequately. So you could reach out to us on LinkedIn or other platforms that we're on, and then we'll be happy to help as well. So that's it from us to you. Wishing you a pleasant day wherever you are. Thank you so much for joining, and good luck in your applications. Bye.
And bye, everyone. Our brothers from Ghana, don't forget your say. And everyone, bye. Thank you so much from Ghana.
Bye, President Kester.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.